Okay, guys, today we have quite a lot of stuff to talk about. I almost forgot my hair light. All right. Today we're talking about how many packs we all fly in the community, and there's been a huge update today, which is that there has been a hack to the DJI FPV goggles. Right there, they figured out how to get the video out of that. Something we've all been trying to do for pretty much forever. So really excited about that. We're gonna give everyone a couple of seconds to get trickled in. Let me see. Is it a little dark? It looks a little dark on the stream. Let's crank up the lighting. Boom. How's that? Ah, much better. Oh, RC Ritter is here. Rick and Isaac, what's going on, guys? Lots to talk about. Lone Star's up here in the house. And this is the new background I've been working on. It actually wasn't going to be a background for streaming. This was just a way to get organized. I had all this stuff on the floor very recently, but I bought these big shelf to kind of put some of this junk up there. You can see a bunch of the quads up there that were just strewn about. Yes, that's right. My name is John, and I'm an FPV hoarder. So I'm trying to hoard less and get rid of some of these things if I can. Michael Matthews is here and Kirk FPV. Wow, what an exciting day, guys. That's right. DJI Video Out is here. We're going to be talking about that in depth in just a few moments, and what that really means, what that means to the race community, what that means to the freestyle community, what that means to the video professionals. Pretty much all professionals that I know that actually make content for us to consume are already on the DJI system. Steel is using it, Kebab, Umagod, all of these guys that actually share what they do with us have already left analog. But one of the gripes that could have been made was that it was a little bit more difficult to get that video out to show the other people on set, particularly your director of photography, that is going to want to see that video feed before they approve that the shot has been completed. And so it really was kind of a bummer to have that smart controller, and now it's gone. So we're going to talk about how easy it is. If there's anybody that's already done the hack and tried it out, let me know in the comments. I'm probably going to be trying it very soon. It sounds like the developers are actually actively working on that thing. So we're going to see what they're able to do really soon. I think they're going to actually make some additional improvements compared to what is already there. So that is exciting as well. Michael is here. Yes, that's right. This is a set of DJI V1s. I have a set of DJI V2s somewhere back there as well. And the video out trick, I keep hitting this microphone, sorry about that. The video out trick works for both of these, so booyah! It doesn't really matter if you didn't upgrade, which I did, and shame on me. But oh well. Isaac says he just ordered 4 more packs. Ooh, that's nice, Isaac. Uh, Lazy Hug is here. Hey, I love your videos. Hey, man, I love your comments. So keep leaving them. Alabama's here. All right, and Kirk is here, man. The chat is popping off, so I think we're gonna go ahead and get started. It's been a long day of Zoom meetings, guys. Are you guys working in an office? Are you working out in the field? Do you work outside? Do you work from home? I work from home. I haven't left in the longest time. This is both my FPV office and my regular office. So at least I'm surrounded by some of the stuff that I like and enjoy. But I've been waiting for this part of the day all day where I can come and talk to you guys. It's finally here. I had a drink just a little bit ago, so now I'm ready to get the stream started. All right. Mike Matthews is at work now. Well, thanks for tuning in, Mike. We really appreciate it. Today's poll was, how many packs do you fly per month? 317 of you guys participated in this poll as of this morning. I saw that there was some late afternoon votes as well. So, yeah, this is, we're slowly painting a picture of the community and what is going on in FPV over time. So we've asked you guys, what size do you fly? Majority flies 5-inch. We've asked you, what battery do you fly? Majority fly 6S, but there's a lot of 4S guys too. Where do you fly? Mostly in the parks. And so as we paint the picture, we try to establish how much do you actually get to fly, because once you've invested in the DJI goggles, once you've invested in your transmitter, once you've invested in all of the batteries, then really what it comes down to is utilizing that equipment. What good is it if you just buy it and only use it for an hour a month? That's not good enough, Joe. Not nearly good enough, Joe. So let's go over the poll results. There was quite an even spread among all the choices. So less than 10 packs a month. Those are rookie numbers. You got to pump those numbers up, guys. You got to pump those numbers up. So 13% of you guys were under 10 packs. The 11 to 25 pack category. Now, depending on if you go out and you fly 3 packs at a time or 5 packs at a time, this could be a few outings. But, this is kind of like when you're first starting and you only buy a couple of batteries. So you can really only fly 3 or 4 batteries at a time before you got to go back home. Eventually, you learn real quick that you need more batteries than that if you really want to get some serious flight time. So that's where 17% of you guys are. The largest chunk is where I anticipated it would be, 26 to 50 packs a month. This is the average, Joes. This is a good amount of packs. This is a good amount of packs to start improving, to start building up your skills. So that is a very respectable number. So don't feel bad if you're here, but you can always get a little better. You can always do a few more packs. There's nothing wrong with that, guys. And so the next rung up is 51 to 80 packs a month. That's roughly 20 packs a week on the high end. This is where I fall the majority of the times. Every once in a while, in a good month, I might go all the way to the pro pilot level. On a bad month, I might fall down to the average Joe, but typically I actually do get to fly about 51 to 80 packs a day. So roughly 2 packs a day at least. If you've been following Bardwell's 2 or 3 packs a day challenge that he's been setting for himself to improve, this is where he would fall in that type of a thing. So that's also a pretty respectable level as well. And then the pro pilot, 81 or more packs a month. So this is, you can only have 5 poll category choices on YouTube. So I had to figure out where to put the categories. And I figured greater than 20 packs a week is a pretty hardcore level. There's not a lot of people that can maintain that average year round, especially of those who live in colder climates, but it is possible. I know, because I know quite a few guys that fall in this category. The Houston crew may be the flyingest group of people on the planet. They assemble to fly, and I am not exaggerating, usually at minimum 4 times a week, and there's some that fly even more than that. There's always 2 nights a week that are at the night spot, Monday and Wednesday. If you've seen the race vlogs, you know the night spot. Then there's at least 1 or 2 days at Andes. I have some footage coming up. If you've ever seen my videos of the qualifier, that's where it's at. If you saw that video recently where Heads Up was doing that line of sight and the dog Joshua Barkwell was there, that's Andes. We go there usually about twice a week, and then there's usually a couple of wild cards. There's different groups flying in different parts around town. We have been trying to figure out, is there anywhere else on the planet that flies more than Houston? Is Houston a mecca for FPV? We don't know, but if you fly more than us, let us know. We thought maybe Louisiana, because they're also a warm climate. They have a very active chapter. C'est La Vie FPV has been pioneering DJI FPV racing. They fly quite a bit, but we had the chance to ask Ron and Kelvin when they were down here with Heads Up and Chief if they fly more than we do, and they said no. They said they want to be like us, which doesn't really surprise me, guys. Of course they do. But that did surprise me because I thought maybe they were one of the few chapters that might be able to fly more than us. Now, I know if you were to shrink that period down to just a single month, I know that the guys up in Detroit fly quite a bit. Johnny Fly, he was my one-time mentor, and now he's almost my nemesis. Go figure that. Those guys fly a lot in the months that they can, but they live in a barren wasteland that's a snowy icicle for 3 or 4 months out of the year. They can't fly during those times unless you count flying in the basement. We don't even have basements here in Texas, guys. All we have is flight fields. It's flat, it's boring, it's not particularly fun to look at unless you count the cows, but we do have a lot of places to fly. Yep. Let's catch up on some of these comments. Man, you guys have been going crazy in the comments. Mike is at work now, tuning in. Thanks, Mike. RC Ritter had the kids in the park all day. Might have got sunburned. Well, I hope you got at least a couple of packs in while you were there, but it's hard to get packs and watch kids at the same time, so it really depends on how old your kids are. If they're young, I understand you probably didn't get a chance to fly. Lazy Hug says, I would love to work from home, but this is coming from a person who works outside all day. Yeah, I hear you guys that work outside. Man, that's got to be rough. But enjoy a nice, cool, refreshing drink. Come on inside, turn the YouTube on, and join the Johnny 5 FPV stream every Tuesday at 7:30. So hopefully you can get out of that sun and get on and join the conversation about how many packs we all fly. Now, Rick says that I do 2 days in the field, 3 days from home. That's not bad. That's not a bad deal. I used to do that prior to COVID. I was actually working 2 days from home, 3 days in the office. And so it was an adjustment to getting to work from home every single day, but now I've kind of got the hang of it. I got my office all set up nice to where I can really work my monitors, a comfortable chair. I don't know if you could see this. It's not a gamer chair. It's an actual office chair because I've worked in an office forever. No, they didn't let us bring our chairs from the office. I had to buy this one myself, and they eliminated some of those tax breaks. What a bummer, guys. What a bummer. But I digress. Rick says, okay, I think I missed the poll. RC Ritter, why did you miss the poll? No wonder the poll results were low this month or this week. Don't forget the polls are released every Saturday, and then we cover the topic from the poll on Tuesday night, 7:30 Central Standard Time. So RC Ritter said he only gets to fly once a month, but tries to do 20 plus packs on that day. Yeah, I mean, if you do have to save it up. So I was going to the night spots. I was trying to make it a point to go there once a week, and I started lagging behind. And what I think I'm going to start doing is I'm going to try to go twice a month, but I'm going to try to go twice as long because it's almost an hour for me to get there. It's late whenever it's time to drive home, so it's only about 45 minutes to drive home, but it's a good amount of time. And if I try to stay for 3 hours, it's not really worth it. I'm going to have to go less frequently and stay later. That means I'm going to be there till 1, 2 in the morning, because when those guys go to the night spot, they party it up there, racing packs after packs after packs. We got generators most of the time, so we can just fly practically forever. Other than that, 3 to 4 packs 3 times a week. Oh, RC Raider, that's a good amount, man. That's about what I fly, to be honest. Torque-tastic, I built a couple of toothpicks just for stick time. Super low effort to fly 3 packs from the street right in front of my front door. You know what? That was really what attracted me about the toothpick style the most over the years, was being able to just go out, put a chair in my driveway, and fly 3, 4, 5 packs while the ladies were in the house watching HGTV or the Housewives of some random city. I was out in the driveway getting packs in, getting stick time, perfecting the craft. Don't worry about tuning your quad, guys. Tune these thumbs. That's what you got to worry about tuning. The only way to do it is through stick time. So if you can't get out there on the weekend to the race, you can usually get out to the driveway and fly a few packs, and that's why it's important to have these small little quads. You can see my Diatone GT, what is this, the 229 or the 339, the 3-inch. I love flying that thing from my driveway. That's why almost everything on the channel is for sale. I sell almost everything, but I've kept that one probably the longest because it's just always comforting. It's like that good blanket that you just snuggle up with at night on a warm winter's day. And flying from the driveway is that same feeling, guys. So do it if you haven't tried it. If you're not into the toothpick craze, you got to have at least one, or maybe a Mobula 7 or something like that. Thinking of building up a tiny trainer. You can see I got a couple of sets of the heads-up motors. Content's coming very soon on that. I've been trying out my Freedom Spec build. I haven't got it on the track yet, but I've done a few packs just in the field, and man, it's quite fun. So pretty cool there. All right, let's catch up on a few more comments, guys. Comments. Delta is in Oklahoma, where the dude, I don't know the rest of the song, but yeah, he's from Oklahoma. That's cool, man. Delta FPV is here. RC Ritter, everything grows so fast. Yeah, you know what? We run into that problem too. One of my favorite flight fields, Battleground. It's very close to my home. It's the closest field that we race on to me. It's only about 5 or 10 minutes away. It's very close. I could basically fly to it with Crossfire if I really wanted to. But I think they figured out that if they mow the ground less often, the drone people will show up less often. I don't know if that's true, or they just stopped. You know, they used to always keep it mowed, and now they'll let it grow, you know, almost a foot high. And once it gets about 6 inches, you know, a 5-inch quad will just disappear in that grass at that length. So Rick says both my son and I are in 51 to 81 pack category. We fly right here in Las Vegas all year. Right now, every other weekend is local multi-GP racing. That's awesome, Rick. Yeah, Vegas. Vegas is one of the few places that probably gets hotter than Houston. And I'm very sensitive to that heat. Definitely in July and August, I'm really struggling to make it through a whole race day. I'm not quite even battling my nerves. I'm battling my freaking... by that time, I'm basically just battling my heat stroke, you know? Like, so I do have one of these portable fans that can run off of a USB power bank, and it can also run off of 18650s. And I gotta tell you, man, that made a huge difference for me being able to fly through those summer months down in the heat. I know in Vegas it probably gets even hotter than Texas, so look into that if you don't have one of those. I'm trying to get a little bit more light in here. Is that any better, guys? It's weird because on my screen, it's brighter than on the actual live stream, so... Ritter says his kids are too young for the goggles. Oh man. Tiago says I bring my gear to work so I can fly on the way back home. Usually 7 packs per session. That is something I've always wanted to do, and I always forget. I never quite get in the habit of doing that. But yeah, if you work too late to where you get home, it's too dark, and you can't get enough flight time, bringing your stuff with you in the car. You just got to make sure, like, if you're parking in a garage or something, like, that's probably okay, but just be careful of leaving all your gear in your car all day. You definitely see a few sad stories every now and again of people getting all of their stuff stolen by leaving it in a car. So be careful of that stuff, guys. Let's see. Rocksteady is at work too. Thanks for joining us. What are you doing at work? Is it busy right now? Just let us know. If you have a conference call, feel free to conference me in, and I will give you some work advice if you want. Torquetastic is super quick and cheap backs. Yeah, the toothpick class is really nice because the batteries are very cheap. That is true. Delta says he flies 3 to 4 times a week, 40 to 50 packs. That's respectable, very respectable. Torquetastic says that the tiny trainer is super tempting. Yeah, I really do want one. I was fortunate enough to meet Heads Up himself. I have a full interview coming out of Heads Up and all of the great things that 533 is doing for the community. They're really innovating, and it's really cool to see a young person just thriving and taking off, and seeing the moves that he's making, seeing somebody that's naturally gifted and business minded is just so refreshing. I've studied business stuff in my free time just because it fascinates me. I've studied it in grad school, and seeing somebody that's naturally talented at that stuff is just always really amazing. So I do want to try one of those tiny trainers very much. Lazy Hug says that they're upgrading to beta FPV goggles to the Cobra X. What do you think this is a good upgrade? Honestly, I think any of the box goggles. I actually have a pair of the beta FPV goggles sitting over there. I can see them across the room right now. They're fine goggles. They have a DVR. They have diversity. Honestly, I would stay with those goggles until you can afford like an HDO. Now, I sold all of my Fat Shark goggles after I started flying DJI because I'm racing on DJI, I'm flying micros on DJI, and I have the BDI analog adapter, so I'm also flying all of my analog stuff on DJI as well. But I ran into an instance at the big race where I crashed all of my DJI quads, and in a race environment I had to switch to analog. So I had to fire up this module. I had to fire up an old spare quad that I had, an old Floss 3 that I hadn't turned on in a long time, and it was just a little bit stressful to have to switch over very quickly. So I did order myself some Fat Sharks. I bought a set of HDOs used for $250. I'm going to use this analog module on there. I think I'm going to go ahead and put the iFlight patch antennas back on here, and I'm just going to have 2 different sets of goggles. The other reason for that is because Freedom Spec Racing is becoming very popular. I built myself up a Freedom Spec quad, and so I think I'm going to go ahead and start using a dedicated set of analog goggles. That way there's not as much switching involved. Now that is definitely first world FPV problems, guys. But I think I should probably make another goggle roundup video, the one that's more modern, that covers the modern day goggle choices. I don't really think that it's worth it to get those Sky Zone Cobras. They are an upgrade, but you're going to pay, I think it's almost $200 for that, isn't it? Spend $50 more, find yourself a set of used HDOs. That's my recommendation. I think $250 is a great spot to jump in and get some HDOs. Yes, you're going to have to buy a module for another 70, 80 bucks. You know, get yourself a TBS Fusion module like this. It's cheaper than Rapid Fire. It works basically the same. So that's my recommendation for that. Mike Matthews says that I love my Crooks for that reason. It's quiet. Yeah, the quiet quads, definitely underrated. You know, I've been flying this thing today, guys. I finally got my hands. Yes, I'm a little behind, but I finally got my hands on this Emax HD. And I printed out mounts to be able to hold the Insta360 Go 2. And it's quite fun. I thought it was going to be underpowered because for the weight, these motors are a little bit small. But that small weight gives you good flight time. I mean, the small motors give you good flight time. It's not super punchy, but it's very controllable. It feels very nice, and it doesn't make a lot of noise. So that's the other benefit. This could be a driveway flyer. It's just a tad on the big and fast end, but it's very maneuverable. So pretty nice option. It's definitely much bigger than your traditional toothpick, you know. So this is kind of on the line. If your neighbors are cool, maybe you can get away with this, but probably some people might want to take this to a park. Delta says, I just started racing. Are people using 2.4? 2.4 for the control link, I use Crossfire. A lot of racers are switching over to 2.4 for Ghost or Tracer. Most of the guys in my chapter have switched over. Just because you can't buy binding flies yet for Tracer or Ghost, so most of the binding flies are coming with Crossfire. So just because I get a lot of stuff in, it's just easier for me to stick with Crossfire, and I don't think that I've outgrown the latency of Crossfire yet. My skills are not quite that high. So Chomper says he gets at least 10 packs a day for about a month trying to tune these thumbs. That's the way to do it, man. You're getting more packs than I am. And it's really surprising. As a racer, it's kind of easy to benchmark each other. We always know like who's the fastest, who's the second fastest, where do you fall, who are the people that are around your skill level. And all of a sudden, you can tell when people start passing you up. It's because you're not getting enough stick time and they are. Now, one of my nemesis, Matt Max, me and him used to be pretty close. In fact, there was actually like 5 or 6 guys in Houston that were all almost the same skill level. And now there's 2 of these guys that are considerably faster, and I've started to fall a little bit slower because they're getting stick time more than I do. Now, Matt actually moved out to the country to a property that's large enough that he can set a track up and fly. He never says how much he flies, but I'm guessing it's almost every day. And he doesn't invite us out there. So he's training himself every day on his own. And that's why he's better than me. Okay, my friend's calling me right now. I'm going to see. Hello? Hey, I'm live. I'm live right now. This is not related to drones, guys. I don't know why I even picked up the phone. Okay, Celine says hi to the people on live stream. All right, I'll call you later after this. All right. Okay, sorry about that. I don't know why I picked up the phone. So, yeah. Houston heat is worse. Okay, Houston heat is worse. The humidity, is that what it is? I know temperature-wise, we get, over 110, somewhat regularly in the summer, but I think Vegas gets hotter, but it's a dry heat. They say that that's not as bad. Rocksteady says usually flies 20 to 25 packs on the weekend. Got to finish the 3-inch whirligig so I can do some backyard ripping. Yes, having that backyard. Is that Johnny 5 in the back? Says Matt. Yes, I printed up a huge Johnny 5 right here. And I actually printed up I just knocked his head off. I actually printed up a 6-inch scale Johnny 5 right here. I got obsessed with printing a Johnny 5 for a while. It's one of the reasons that I wanted to get a 3D printer, was to be able to make my own Johnny 5. And so I made one. This is like a 6-inch action figure scale Johnny 5 right here. It is in a nice silver PLA. I don't know if you can see that. No, the camera probably can't focus there, but we'll keep it right here. Yeah, this came out really awesome. I need to take some pictures like next to some 6-inch action figures. It came out really, really nice. And of course, I had to print one that was, this is the largest I could fit on an Ender 3, and it came out pretty cool, man. So I'm not going to pick it up because it's not completely glued together and it'll just fall apart. But yeah, this is a pretty cool model. This one, I believe, is about 22 or 23 pieces. So, you know, there's a lot of little individual pieces here. The arms move, which is kind of cool. But there's another more detailed version that you can print full size. That one's like 100 and something pieces, but that was too complicated for me. So let's put that back there. Nimbus is here. What's going down, Nimbus? Okay, let's catch up on the comments a little bit, and then we're going to get into the DJI discussion a little bit more. Rick says that I just ordered all the stuff for a Freedom Spec build, but it's getting super popular here. Yeah, that was my biggest thing. Like, what I didn't want to happen was I go spend all the money to get a Freedom Spec build, and then people did it for like, you know, a couple of times, and then they just give up on it. We started to try to have like toothpick races here for a while. So everybody either bought or built toothpicks. Now I was already reviewing the diatones already, so I just flew that. But a lot of people built them up. We did it about 3 times and then we never did it again. So people had these toothpicks that they really weren't interested in flying. Now I didn't mind because I already had several of these in for review and I actually like flying them, so it wasn't a big deal. But people that didn't love flying them just felt like it was a waste, and I didn't want that to be what Freedom Spec turned into. But it's actually gotten really popular. In fact, at the night spot, the last several times, people are just like having a whole Freedom Spec heat every time, because that's how many people just want to fly Freedom Spec, even on an everyday course, not even for a special event. So like lately we've been having Freedom Spec heat, Open Spec heat, and HD heat. Now I'm always in the HD heat, but I might start participating more in that Freedom Spec heat. So we'll see about that. Delta says, I've had a tiny trader since the getting into racing and building it again. Nice, nice. Big says, I fly at work at lunch and only weigh with small kids, but about 5 on lunch. That's the way to do it, man. That's hardcore. I actually go fly stuff to review quite often during my lunch breaks. I actually flew this thing on my lunch break today. Yesterday on the lunch break, I flew the Diatone L5, the 5-inch ultralight that they made, and it was pretty dang good. So it's nothing like, you know, spending 5 minutes to eat and the rest of your lunch break to fly. So I guess I'm not the only one that does that. Nice, nice. Nimbus says, FPV highlights will hate, but I swear by sim time over packs for training. You know what, Nimbus? If I had both options, I would choose real life every time. But the fact of the matter is, due to work schedule and whatnot, a lot of time, the free time that I have is late at night after everyone's asleep. And so you can't go build a track in the middle of the night, can you? So the only way to get stick time in that instance is the sim. Particularly if you're into training for racing Velocitron, most of the racers are there. I used to train on Liftoff as well. I actually like Liftoff more as a game and as a freestyle platform, but all of the racing competition seems to take place on Velocitron, which is really cool. And a lot of my guys actually build tracks. If you've ever seen any of the growers track, that is Neil in M Grower. You've seen him in the videos. He is the Mr. Miyagi of FPV. Mr. Nice, if you will. Mike says that I still use the SkyZone O2Os. I just didn't want to deal with external receivers. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Those are roughly equivalent to the Omway Commanders, which I used for a long time. I loved the Omway Commanders. They're still a great goggle today. If you had a budget of only like 120 to 150 bucks, I would say try to get yourself a used set of those Omway Commanders. I believe the SkyZone O2X is roughly equivalent. The Dominator V3 is also roughly equivalent. Rock City says, I'm a dental tech and we're busier than ever. Just ask Kebab how busy the dental industry is right now. You know what? It's been over a year since I got a dental checkup and I'm paying for this dental insurance, so I probably should use it, right? So thank you for the reminder on that. Let's see. Kimbo says that sims are fun, but the real life freestyle racing is better. Yeah, there's no question about that. I totally agree. But if you can't get out in real life, you might as well get some sim, because sim is better than nothing. That's for sure. Chomper says the Tiny Trainer is so much fun. Isaac says that I'm a DJI at night. During the day I deliver food, and during the day with my gear just looking for places to fly. Yeah, that's cool, man. Especially if you're out cruising around delivering stuff. I could see finding all the best spots and knowing where to stop, get a quick pack in. That's pretty cool. So, I mean, I know it's a grind, man, but I bet you're getting some good packs in there. Show us your footage if you haven't any, Isaac. Rick says, I love my Tiny Trainer. Yeah. Lone Star says you got the SkyZone O3Os for $275. That's not a bad deal. It's not a bad deal. Let's see. Let me catch up on some more of these comments. Man, there's a lot of you guys in here tonight, man. That Insta360, Ritter says, yeah, stick time is stick time, but I don't get the same rush from sim racing or freestyle. Yeah, that racing in real life, man, when your heart's beating, your hands are shaking, but I'm still shooting, and I'm still getting headshots. I mean, race laps in the field. Nitro Nut says, howdy from Texas. Howdy to you, sir. Nimbus says the rush is after you put in 100 hours in sim and then rip a pack. Yeah, I bet you that you're really getting nice reflexes from all that sim time. Tuning those thumbs, man. That's how to do it. Kimbo says agreed sticking with Crossfire. Yeah, there's a lot of really interesting control options as well. Ritter says, are you coming to the West Coast Throwdown? I'm not making any trips for FPV this year. I had really want to. I've been planning to make one this year, but just because of lockdown, I'm really not going on any trips at all, unfortunately, unless they're like a quick road trip. So people are talking about Rampage this week. Yeah, I'm looking forward to all the cool footage that comes out there. Michael Matthews says, 3D printers useful for drones or a novelty? I say that they're very, very useful. I've owned probably 8 3D printers over the past few years. I have I think 3 right now, and 1 that's in the box that I bought like 4 months ago that I need to put together. It's a Prusa clone. I have 3 actual Prusas. I've also owned a couple of Ender 3s, a Creality CR10. I've owned the Ender 3 V2. I think it's a must, especially if you fly different stuff. Like, see this mount on this Emax? I downloaded a file from Thingiverse, printed it. Both the mount that goes on the Insta362 and a separate piece that mounts to this Emax HD. The Diatone Roma that I flew yesterday, I printed out a mount. It's like so useful. Arm guards I print out all of the time. This helmet right here, I printed that. Unfortunately, my goggles won't fit when I'm wearing that, but if I can make a version where my goggles fit, you better believe I'm going to be wearing that helmet at the races. So yes, super useful. I have more 3D content. I actually have a review of the Prusa MK2S. It's an old Prusa that I got for inexpensive, and man, it's just changed my life. Ender 3 is a super great bang for the buck, but it does require some tuning and maintenance to keep it printing well. The Prusa is just like set it and forget it, even one that's like 5 years old. And I'm just blown away at how reliable those things are and how much they just work every single time. Delta FPV says, love your FPV sales page, man. Oh, thank you for the super chat, Delta FPV. And yes, the FPV sales alerts group is the group on where to get all of the sales and FPV. And at a time like this, during the chip shortage where stock is almost non-existent, the only way to stay abreast of what stock is here, whether you're flying analog, HD, digital, we're all about to get that squeeze on the chip shortage. So stay attuned to the FPV Sales Alerts group on Facebook so that you can know when all of the stock drops and grab it before all of those other FPV junkies do. If only there was something similar that would help me get a PlayStation 5. But I digress. John Clay says, I'm getting about 4 packs a day on average. I don't know anybody else close that flies, but when I do, I'm ready to. When I meet up with someone, I'm ready to rip. Yes, yes. Rocksteady says, sweet Johnny 5 model. Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks, man. 3D printer is great for things like drones and so many other things as well. Yeah, I mean, I print out so many things, and I've been learning how to design. I've been designing a lot of stuff. Check this out. Check this out. See if I can pull this out without making a big crashing noise right here. Here's another project I've been working on. Let's see if you guys can tell what this is. I've been working on this project for a little bit. Check that out. It's I have all the pieces printed, but I gotta assemble it. But oh man, this is gonna be sweet. So yeah, 3D printer is a must for doing crazy knickknacks and also printing baby Yodas and baby Groots. It's a must-have. You know, in modern times, the 3D printer only costs, you can get one for well under 200 bucks. The filaments are, you know, they're not, you can basically print a lot of stuff for about 20 bucks with the filament, which is a kilogram roll. So yeah. Stay tuned. Watch some of my 3D printing content. I have a good review out on the Ender 3 V2, which is a really great selection. So check that out. Delta says, what's the deal with Freedom Spec 3S on 2207s? I have a video where I interviewed some of our guys that have been flying Freedom Spec to find out what they think about it. I'm going to be trying it and making more content on it. I really thought when it first came out, like, what's the point of this? But it's really a lot of fun. And after actually flying those heads-up motors on 3S, see, the thing is, you end up making a very light build. My build with props with a Kevlar strap was only 265 grams. That's with those 2207 motors. Now, take in consideration, those 2207 heads-up motors are 1960 kV, so it is a high kV. You pair that on 3S, and yes, you're not going blistering speed, but it's faster than I thought. And because you're getting a little bit less lift because the voltage is so low, you really have to maintain a constant speed. You can't fly slowly with that amount of power. I know, at least not with the 45-degree camera mount that I use. So you have to really be pushing the throttle hard just to stay in the air, so you're constantly moving. So that's the difference. It's really fun. So if they're doing it in your area, definitely do it. So any good cheap ones? Yeah, I'm going to make a video very soon at the buy-in levels for 3D printers. But really, the ultimate cheap one is the Monoprice Mini. You can get it for about 150 bucks. If you go up to 200 bucks, you should get an Ender 3. If you go up to 300 bucks, you should get an Ender 3 V2, which is 260, or a Soval SV1, which is about 280. Anything between $300 and $800 is like no man's land. If you want to spend $400, you can get the Prusa Mini. And then basically God mode is the Prusa MK3S for 800 bucks. So those are the price levels roughly. I'll make a video going into more detail. But cheap, the best one to get for cheap is probably the Ender 3. There's so many out there in circulation. There's so many tutorials. There's so many settings out there you can download. So many things that if you get into trouble, the community support is gigantic. So that's another consideration. On a good day, you can get an Ender 3 for about 180 bucks or about 200 bucks full price. I think for a lot of people spending the extra 60, if you can swing $260, get the Ender 3 V2. It has the silent board in it. It's going to be much quieter, and it has a few other upgrades that make it a little bit more plug and play. Okay, John says I'm in Hickory, NC, by the way. Yeah, man. Mr. Spat says he just got back from flying a new FetTech build, and I love it. You know, I really do want to try that FetTech stuff, man. Thanks for reminding me. Marcellus is here. Vampire Sims at least 3 times a week. Marcellus flies into the night every night. That sounds lovely. That sounds lovely. Let's see. Man, I'm having a hard time catching up with you guys' comments today, man. You guys are super active in the chat. That's cool. TRD FPV says that 6 packs a day, Monday through Friday. Okay, let's change gears, guys. The last 15-20 minutes or so, we're going to be talking about how those crazy guys figured out how to get the video out of here and onto a screen. Yes, it is here. The hack is available. It seems very straightforward and easy. And if you're not in the know, the hack essentially allows you to take the video from the USB-C port, put it to any computer, and display that as a FPV feed on the computer. Now, people are also saying that it's going to be available to run on something like a Raspberry Pi. So just I don't know why I did that. Sorry. I click my things on video when I make an audio mistake, but I forgot we're live. Okay. So imagine you're on set and you're working with a director. You're working with a director of photography. Now, I've been on set on a few indie films and back in the day, and, you know, imagine a real director of photography there setting up a red camera. He's got grips. He's got people working the camera for him. He's measuring lights. You know, he's setting up the shot. Just to take like one 30-second shot might take like 2 to 3 hours. It takes literally forever. Moving the lights around and all this stuff. Now, how is he going to let the director know that the shot is actually what he wants? Well, in that instance, on set, he is going to have a big monitor on a C-stand. The DP I worked with a couple of times was Larry McKee, is a local guy, and for his red camera setup, he had a big 27-inch monitor that he stood on a C-stand and fed the HDMI output to. So as he's framing, he's not looking at a small screen through goggles or on a little back of the camera. He's showing that to himself, the director, everybody else, so everybody can know what we're working with. And so not being able to do that for FPV shots has really been a problem for some of these professionals, because a drone pilot on a set, you're basically a camera guy. You're an aerial director of photography. And okay, they could buy that monitor that's on the smart controller and hand it to a director or hand it to a director of photography. And yes, they're tethered to them. So now instead of looking on a big monitor like they're used to, they're looking on this little thing that feels like a toy. That's super lame. Well, now with a laptop or a Raspberry Pi, you can output to that 27-inch monitor. You can output to a freaking 80-inch TV or a projector or whatever. And that's just simply amazing. So that really gives me an idea. So I might try to carry that idea out. So this is a real game changer, and the hack involves just installing a couple files on your computer and then using the Zadig tool. If you've ever used Betaflight, you know that that's a tool to be able to assign drivers. Using the Zadig tool to assign a special driver, and then you run a little applet application that runs, and it starts collecting that data immediately and displaying it on the screen. There already have been a few revisions. I understand they've already, in the short time that it's been available, just today, have already figured out a few things to reduce the latency, and supposedly the feed from the DJI goggle now to a monitor is basically just as fast as it is that the pilot's seeing in the goggle. So that's just amazing. It's mind-blowing. That's just always crazy. So what do you guys think? Is this a game changer? You know, the last thing that people that are racers were complaining about is that you couldn't get the video out. That changes today, MultiGP. So, so what are you going to do about it? Because we've basically resolved most of the issues with the timing system. The last remaining issue was the video out. And this video out works with both the DJI V1 goggle and the DJI V2 goggle. So, yeah, that's a hell of a deal right now. That's big, big news. So, looking forward to seeing everything that's going to come out with that. All right. TRD does 6 packs a day, Monday through Friday, just like it's a job. I like that. Nimbus puts in 3 hours a day of actual stick time in DRL. Whoa, the sim? That's nice. Okay, Marcellus uses the EV200. Marcellus needs the teeth done so bad. Wes is here, Joe Cool. I recognize your icon too. That is Joe Cool. That's cool. All right, let's catch up on some of these comments. Scout Trooper helmet, yeah. Scuba Steve. Oh yeah, you guys. Oh man, I really am behind on these comments. Lone Star says that the FL Sun QQS Pro is a great Delta for $250. Armani is here. I made it. Where's the rewind button? Hey man, at least you made it to the end. There he is, the guy. We're making those comments today that in Facebook. That was pretty funny. RC Prusa is my next. Yeah, man, Prusa is a game changer. Unfortunately, the Prusa MK3S is $800, which is out of my price range, and people never seem to sell them. But I was fortunate enough a while back to catch a professional 3D print shop that was moving on. They were going to stop their portion of the 3D print business, and they were selling several of their printers. So I was able to scoop up a pair of Prusa MK2S for relatively cheap, and I've been loving it ever since because yes, you can tune an Ender to print better than a Prusa, to be honest, but it just takes more maintenance, and I'm just too lazy for that for the most part. Nimbus has a CR10. Is that some Omni love? Yeah, I pretty much mostly use Omni antennas. I just saw the Albert Kim video about the DJI out. Yes. How is audience mode on a second set of DJI Goggle V2? I've taken people with me who fly who are not into FPV, and they always ask to see what I'm doing. The audience mode is not bad, but I think this video out option is actually going to be better in most respects. The audience mode has a little bit more latency, so it's not locked in. It doesn't have the high refresh rate that you're actually seeing in your goggles. I know the first time I tried DJI was in the audience mode. I was not flying it. It was a few months before I got my pair, and I actually felt dizzy in audience mode, so I don't know. Armani says, how do I get an 80-inch TV to my spot, John? I mean, you know, there's some assembly required. Like, I can't give out all the secrets. You know, I'm wondering if I could somehow set up a projector at the night spot, like on the side of one of those buildings to get one of those DJI feeds going. Like, how sweet would that be, man? Oh, dude, that's going to be a game changer. Like Isaac says, it will be. Corey Man says, so that means the race director would need 4 to 8 sets of goggles. Otherwise, everybody else would need to be plugged in. Yeah, I mean, they're going to have to figure that out. But, like, just for argument's sake, let's say there was, you know how, like, at most races they have the seats where people sit to fly. let's say each seat had a 20-inch monitor or a 27-inch monitor behind it with a little USB-C cord that you would plug in. So they'd be tethered, but it's just the same way that you're tethered at certain races where they're using ground stations. So having a tether to your goggles is nothing new. And then boom, you could see it, and presumably they'd have a way to DVR that. I would think you could probably record it off the screen if you're doing it through laptops with OBS. So there's going to be a lot of changes in this video out thing, probably very, very soon in the coming weeks. So, they're going to be figuring out how to do all of that stuff. Will you be doing an in-depth video about the video hack? I'm definitely going to be making a video about it. People are already putting tutorials, so I don't know if there's any point in me making another tutorial, but I'm definitely going to make a video just talking about how this changes things today, where we want it to go forward, and maybe coming up with a couple of creative ways to show what is possible with that. Papa's here, late to the party. Now, RC Ritter says he should be able to stream from the DJI app to anywhere. That would be nice, but I don't know if it's possible. Dwight T says RDQ has the red and black Radio Master 16 Max, so soon I'll be able to start my first 500 crashes. Yeah, for sure. Get that radio, start getting that sick time, get on that sim, man. That's the way to do it, Dwight. So that's pretty much what we wanted to cover today. If there's any Q&A, leave me a question and I'll answer it. But big news today, man. The DJI thing is so huge. I can't wait to see what people start doing with this, to see the type of stuff people start showing with this. It's just absolutely incredible, the things that are going to be possible. And so I'm just really looking forward to it. Pretty good, guys. Pretty good. What are you? Yeah, the DJI goggles are huge, and I actually have kind of a big head. So, even on my big head, they look pretty big. You can, like, look at this thing. It's like, it looks cool like this, but when you put it on, it doesn't look as cool. So, Andy RC has a video up. Yeah, I did see. I watched his. That's where I kind of learned about it. So I figured, why not? Why repeat what Andy already did? He did a pretty good, quick, concise job of showing you how to do the hack. And here's the thing. They're changing that hack rapidly. Now that they have a wide selection of users that are interacting with it, they're going to be making tweaks. So, why bother to make something? It's going to be outdated. So I'm going to wait till the dust settles, and then I'll start making some content around that. Marcellus says that I sat around editing all day, going to be flying late again. Where's your beach chair? Yeah, I don't use a beach chair. I use a folding chair that has a little table on the side for my radio and a drink. So yeah. Beep2 says analytics. Yeah, man, I'm always looking at those analytics. That's why I'm pulling the data over to you so that we can form a complete picture of what FPV is, the state of FPV. That's why we are doing it. Dwight says I get a little bit of light by my nose on the goggles. Yeah, a lot of people replace the foam. I do end up having a little bit of light leak. It doesn't really bother me. But these are well broken in. So I do have some DJI V2 goggles that I probably should switch to using. But I noticed when I put those on, the foam was brand new and it was all weird. I've worn this set so much that the foam's finally molded to my face. So yeah, that's probably why I haven't switched. I love my V1s. They're just fine to me. Yeah, stay tuned. So I think we'll go ahead and wrap it up here, guys. This has been a good one. Don't forget to stay tuned to the polls that are going to drop every Saturday. If you join my Patreon, you can leave suggestions to the poll, or you can leave suggestions on what the poll be, so you can actually help drive the topics if you join the Patreon. Join the FPV Sales Alerts group on Facebook to get all the sales and stay abreast of when the new stock is going to be dropping. The chip shortage is going to be hitting us all very, very soon, so start stocking up now if you can swing it. Thanks, you guys, for tuning into the Johnny 5 Show, the show where John is always right, and if you agree with him, you could be right too.